Hey guys, it's me from a Game Maker Tutorial X, and I have my guest friend here. Say hello.
Hello.
He knows as much about a Game Maker as I do. And today we're going to be starting our first series of game, and it's going to be a shooter to intro us into Game Maker. And as you can see, I opened Game Maker and started a new project, and it's 8.0 Pro, not the shitty Studio, because that never works for me. It's really annoying. So the first thing we're going to do is create a sprite, and the way you do that is you click the Pac-Man thing like that, or you can right-click sprites and hit create sprite. And you can either maximize that or leave it windowed, but I'm OCD, so traditionally how people name things in GameMaker is the type, underscore, and then the name. So
And the sprite, by the way, is an image. It's pretty much just an image that you associate with things in your game. It's not something that you put in the game. It might, well, you kind of do, but it's just something that you associate.
Yeah, like you create
Like
objects to
yeah.
use sprites with. So yeah, like he said, sprites are just images. So when you first create a sprite, you're probably going to want to make an image, and the way you do that is you just hit Edit Sprite, and then GameMaker has its own little like built-in MS Paint, but it's actually a lot better, and I draw pretty well in it. And first off, you can just hit Create New Sprite.
So it creates like a animation, sort of. So you create each frame of the animation in here, too.
Right, and then you can just give it any dimensions. And then later on we'll go over animation, like he said, it's just more images.
Yeah.
So go ahead and go in your image, you just double click, and then you can click the little magnifying glass. And then we'll make a little ship by drawing a square.
Damn.
Looks like ass. Okay, we're going to move it. It's good to center your sprites usually for collision purposes. So that's a sprite. You can hit show preview over here as well, and this will
If it's an animation.
Yeah, it can also show animation. You control speed, and then check, and then
Center the origin. The origin is the 0, 0,
It's
X and Y.
It's basically where you place things and kind of how things are measured in actions.
Yeah, pretty much.
Alright, so once your sprite's created, the way GameMaker works is it has events that happen, and shit's going on, and every event has its corresponding actions. And so basically what you do, get rid of this shit, and basically what you do is you create an object, and like he said, sprites are just images, and the objects are actually where shit happens. So you create an object like you create anything else. It's just object underscore, and then the name of it. I just call it character. And then you choose the sprite that it represents. So we just choose the only one. Maximize this. And you don't need to worry about all this shit. The only thing that needs to be checked is visible. Alright, so GameMaker works based on events, and every event has its list of actions to complete. And an event is anything. It's like create, destroy, keyboard, pressing on keys, moving your mouse.
So it's when something happens.
Basically, yes. So let's make some basic movement. All you really gotta do is hit keyboard, and then you can choose a key. I'm just gonna hit right.
Yeah, so when the right is clicked, you're going to do a certain action.
Exactly. GameMaker waits for events to happen, and when they do, you give it a list of actions to complete.
Yeah.
And over here are your actions, and make sure you're in the Move tab. Hover over this. It says Moved Fixed, and all you gotta do is click, drag, and drop, and then this little thing will pop up. And as you can probably guess, you just click the right arrow and give it a speed. And if I were you, if you want it to be normal, I'd put it under 5, so I just do 4. And you can do this to move any direction, so we can go ahead and do that. You can move it in all directions. GameMaker pretty much works like this. It's just drag and drop, and it's really simple, and you can learn it on the fly.
Well, if you're wondering what relative is, it just means it creates a relative value to that. So like it keeps adding on as that action is called.
Yeah, relative. No, actually, relative is the relative positions of the current instance.
Oh well, and move it is, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is create a room. And a room is basically the setting of the game where everything takes place. The actual like
it's like a screen. Like it can be like a menu, it could be a level. It's just like a screen.
Yeah, exactly. And it works just kind of like a I don't know, like a sticker type thing almost, where you just slap shit on there and it's on there.
You gotta select it at the bottom left corner.
Exactly. Down here you select your objects and it uses your objects, and you just, put them all over, but we're actually just going to use one character. And if you want to get rid of things...
And you right click to get rid of it.
Right, if you want to get rid of things, you just right click and go over it. And also, one more thing we're going to do, we're going to the settings tab, and then we're going to name it something. We're just going to call it level 1.
And then caption is what it says.
You can give it a caption.
Yes, it says what it says, like on the window pane thing.
And the rest of this we'll cover later. You don't need to do too much more about that. And then you can go ahead and hit check, OK, and we can go ahead and save this as YouTube tutorial. And to run things, you just click the big play button. It should run. And it takes a while. I don't know why. And there you go. As you can see, we run into a little problem where you just press the key and you're not even pressing it and it still moves.
So, yeah, you just tap it once and it keeps moving.
Forever, right. But as you can see, our caption's up there, our room's gray, and notice how in the room editor this is gray. It's because this is our scene. So we need to fix this. So the way we would do this is you click add event and keyboard and no key. That means you're not pressing any key on the keyboard at all. What we want to happen is you drag move fixed event over and click this middle one. That means stop, and don't put any speed or any relative at all. And make sure all of these are applied to self. You can hit
so
OK.
When no key is pressed, it's going to move nowhere.
Exactly. And then there's also an event called any key, which does the same thing. I mean, opposite thing, not same thing. So then save that and play it, and now you'll see once it loads that you can just press it and it'll stop. There's a little, I don't know, to me it seems like there's a little like after move, like after you let go there's like a slight pixel movement, but there's so many fine adjustments you can do in Game Maker. Like you can set horizontal speed, you can get into the scripting for moving. So it gives you a lot of options. Okay,
yeah.
So now that we got basic movement done and you kind of understand events and actions, we're going to go over how to create an instance and shoot something. So the first thing we need to do is create another sprite. We're just going to call this one sprite underscore bullet. And we're going to go in here, we're going to make a new one. Make it 16 by 16 so it's small. And we're going to zoom in all the way. We're going to make a quick sprite.
Damn.
I know. Hold on. It's going to be somewhat good. Okay, there's our bullet.
Wait, fill it.
Okay, we'll make it red.
There
Alright,
we go.
so there's our bullet, and in the preview it's tiny, which is good. And you make sure that you center it, and hit OK. Next, we need to create an object for it. So that works the same way as always, unless you fuck it up, like I did. And choose your sprite. Now the only thing we need to put in here is an event called create. Now this event create means when everything is first loaded up, all the objects are created onto the screen.
If you put them in the room.
Exactly, so it's basically like, and actually no, you don't even need them in the room. In this case, every object is created when you start the game, so it just automatically, loads up.
So it's pretty much when the object is created, or if you want to say it like when the game starts.
Basically, right, yeah. Or when it's, when created. All we're going to have it do when it's created is just to move to the right. And we're going to put it at a speed like 10, so it just shoots across the screen. And go ahead and go back to your character and add a key release spacebar event. And this is so we can't spam the spacebar and shoot a million bullets. And all you're going to do is go to the main one tab and drag over create instance. And all we're going to do is select the object we want to create of. Now this is where you're going to check the relative, and this means use relative x and y positions.
Because it's obviously going to move.
Exactly, and this it spawns it near the origin. That's why we center it. So we can actually put it over a little bit by messing with the x. So this means current x plus 5. So it's moved over a little bit.
Yeah.
We can hit OK, and you don't really need to check that. You don't even really need to save, but I like to. And then you can run. And once we release the space, it'll shoot like that. And as you can see, it spawns kind of still near the origin, so you can just kind of mess with the X. And we shoot 10 million bullets, and it's a little slow for me, so we're going to up this to like 20. And let's go back here, and let's put it over more. Let's run this again.
Also, you can move the origin, because if it's the X is 0 and the Y is 0, then it shoots out of the origin of the sprite.
Yeah, that'll work.
Which again is
too.
that little cross when you make your sprite.
But as you can see, we got it to kind of where I like it. So we got a basic shooter set up, and again, you can adjust all the values to what you like. I like it to how I've got it. So in the next tutorial, we'll be going over basic AI and like creating enemies and things like that. But I will see you guys next time on a tutorial.